You guys already know what time of the year it is. It is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and your family. But enough about this turkey business. Let's get into what you guys really want to know. It is Black Friday sales, fellas. 15% off all parts and 50 off all swag. So grab a t-shirt at gooseperformance.com. No code necessary. And guys, make sure you guys check out the new modular LS swap intake. Use that bad boy for your LS swap. Let's get into the video. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little SEMA trip we did. We only spent about a day and a half out there. Super busy. But it is time to get back on the C10 build. And it's in the garage. Let me show you. Finally got it in the garage, fellas. So the frame and the suspension parts are at powder coat. So I figured we'd take advantage and get this thing in here and start demoing. So you guys can see I've already kind of demoed the firewall. I've been working on this for the last day or so. Got everything off the firewall, got the old heater core out, brake booster, you name it, wiring harness. But if you guys been watching me on Instagram, you guys know we had to build a little cart for this thing. You guys can see we kind of built a little cart for the cab basically to roll this thing around so we can get it from the back to the garage. You guys can see in here that we definitely been doing some work. We got the dash gutted already, pulled out all the wiring. I mean, everything. I even pulled this front layer of the carpet out. That was a pain in the butt. They did a really good job in putting that thing in, let me tell you. But the more and more I'm taking this truck apart, fellas, I am really happy with the purchase of this truck. Absolutely great condition. Everything looks still factory. Even the wiring harness that we pulled out looks really good. Not a lot of splices going on there. So we're probably going to reuse all that stuff. But today's mission, oh yeah, look, everything's out here gutted up. But today's mission, fellas, is trying to get the vintage air mocked up. We do have vintage air going into this thing. I kind of want to see where everything's going to land and see what we need to cover up as far as the firewall goes. Clean that up, you guys already know. But what I am going to do first, just so we can get a good visual of the firewall before we put the vintage air in, is I want to clean all this stuff up. I want to clean all this stuff up, get rid of all this dirt, grime, and everything else, and see what we have to work with. So let's get started. Oh man, that stuff is dusty, you guys. We got the dash, I should say the firewall prep for the most part. I really just wanted to see what we had and just kind of getting a good idea of what holes we need to cover and stuff like that. But let me show you guys vintage air. So this is just going to be the evaporator side, fellas. So we have obviously the whole kit, but this is just going to be the main evap box. If I can get the camera to focus. So what we'll do is we'll mock this bad boy up and kind of see what where it lands and what holes we need to cover, and then potentially maybe make some kind of plate or something like that. But this is also the Gen 5. Yeah, let's open some stuff up. All right, so we got everything laid out here what we're going to be using today. Mainly the evap box along with all the bracketry and maybe a couple lines over there just to kind of see where everything lands. But I can already tell I'm not going to be a fan of this plate. And obviously every truck's so slightly different and stuff like that, but we'll see how it fits and then we'll go from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and prep the box real quick with all the brackets, mount all the mounting brackets onto that, and then we'll see how this thing fits. you're gonna have the vintage air plate, right? You're gonna have to mount the plate first, but so you guys know what holes to look for and how this thing works, you're gonna end up using that hole and that top hole up there, and that's how this box is gonna be mounted on the inside, along with the bracket on the inside. But what I noticed, I was putting on the bracket on the other side of the box, the one that mounts to the top of the cow, and I noticed that it's not going to fit with the bracket installed inside the cab, so I would leave it off if I were you guys. So I'm going to throw this up on the wall and see what we're looking like. I want you guys to check this out, because look how bad that alignment is. Pretty crappy. It literally falls kind of right on top of this other panel from the factory that comes down and then over, and it just kind of has a crappy landing spot. I mean, it is what it is. We're going to end up drilling through that, so just be wary of that kind of stuff, because you're going to end up using this one and then this one to mount the actual box, but we're going to end up kind of having to drill through basically two pieces of metal there, and the top one will basically be irrelevant, so keep that in mind. All right, we got this thing mocked in, but it definitely is a two-person job. I had to get my daughter to come help me, because there's no way you're going to be able to put the bolts and hold this box in place from the other side of the firewall. So we got it in there nice and leveled, but what I'm noticing is that you're going to have a couple flanges on the inside here from the factory air box that you're definitely going to want to get rid of. So what we're going to end up doing is cutting these off, obviously removing everything, and it'll allow you a little bit more clearance back here to work, especially when you go to put the heater hoses on, the AC lines and things like that. But if you notice down there, that's where your heater lines hook up, and then you have that flange that kind of comes out this way, and it's definitely going to be in the way to basically hooking these up. You have these adapters from Vintage Air. There's no way you're going to be able to get those in there. It's going to be a nightmare. I think we're almost going to want to put these on before we put the box as well, but again, we're going to cut those back. But you also have these adapters here that basically from Vintage Air that basically connect here and then come out through the holes through that plate. They line up fairly well, but I'll show you what I don't like about it. Yeah. So on this side, we obviously have the plate installed with the box and everything, and these are obviously where your hoses come out. But I don't like how many bolts are just kind of exposed on this firewall. Now these are the two main bolts here. These are the ones that actually hold the Vintage Air in place. But everything else is kind of a little bit overkill, not to mention it doesn't cover up the rest of these holes unwanted. They do give you like a little cup that goes here. It's this guy right here. If I can grab it off the ground. This guy basically lives like that. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great. So, and then if we guys know these square bodies, that fender doesn't kind of cover up this area. It does not cover it up very well. So I'm going to brainstorm. I'm probably going to 3D scan this whole area here and figure out and come up with a solution really to where it'll obviously clean up all these holes. And then I got to figure out what I want to do. If I want to keep the lines basically here to come out here, because if we do keep them here, the benefit is that we can use all the stuff that came with the Vintage Air kit, so you don't have to get any new adapters and things like that. I've seen guys run the hoses out through here and obviously make a different adapter here. So you definitely could do that, but you are not going to be able to use any of those that came with the kit, because you're going to end up having a different angle coming this way and then back out. Yeah, let me see what we can come up with. Well, fellas, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys would want on your truck, and maybe a different design pattern or something like that. There's a lot of different stuff out there for these C10s, and I want to do something different. Not just the same old bead roll and stuff like that, but put it down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys want to see on a C10. And you guys already know, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and hit the bell for notifications, and stay wrenching.